Hello students, in the last session we were discussing about widgets in HTML, XHTML. In today's session we will continue our discussion of widgets. So let's start. Today we will start with a widget that is text area. We have already seen a widget called as text widget, which is used to input or which is used to edit a line of text. But many a times in the web form we may have to add or edit multiple line of text. In such cases we can use text areas instead of text widget. Text area can be created by using a tag that is text area. This text area usually includes the rows and columns attributes to specify the size of the text area. So, size of the text area, it is specified by using two attributes, that is rows and columns. That is, number of rows and number of columns can be specified, and that will be the size of text area. Default text can be included as the content of text area. If you want to include some content by default inside the text area, you can include it in between the open text area tag and the closed text area tag. A closing tag of text area, you can include the text in between, which is the default content of the text area. In case of text area, the scrolling is implicit if the area is overfilled, means text area will automatically have a scroll bar if the content exceeds the viewing boundaries. Okay, one example you can see here. Suppose we want a text area. So inside the form you can see how we have created a text area here. Text area name is equals to value, that is aspiration, that is the name of the text area, and you can see we have used two attributes, rows and columns. So number of rows defines the height of the text area and number of columns defines the width of the text area. So columns are 40 whereas rows are 3, and we have some content. This is the opening text area tag. Inside this we have some content here, be brief and concise, and the text area is closed. Now the output of this, you can see it here. We have a text area and content of text area, it is displayed here. This text area may have a scroll bar. If you can see right now it is hidden because the content is not exceeding the boundaries, whether horizontally or vertically. If it exceeds the boundary vertically, it will have a vertical scroll bar here. If it exceeds the boundary horizontally, a horizontal scroll bar may also appear. Okay, so this is how we can create text area whenever we want to enter multiple lines of text. For example, if you want to read an address from a user, then he may add multiple lines of address. In such cases we can use a text area. The next widgets are the buttons. We call it as action buttons, and we have two such buttons. One is reset and another is submit. The name itself tells us what these button does. Reset button simply resets the values in the form, whereas submit button, it is used to submit the data to the server. Both of those buttons can be created by using a tag, that is an input tag. We have already seen input tag and we have created so many widgets by using input tag. This input tag can also be used to create reset and submit button. How we can create it? input type is equals to reset for reset button, value is equals to reset form. Here the value of the input tag appears on the button itself. So, this value which you add, that will be displayed on the button. Same way we can create a submit button, only the type changes. Here type is submit and the value again submit form. Okay. Submit button has two actions. These are, first one is encode the data of the form. Whenever you click on the submit button, what it does is it encodes the data in the form. As we know, a form includes so many widgets and these widgets are used to enter data. Suppose user enters data, all this data is encoded whenever you click a submit button. So, that is the first thing. Second, request the server execute the server resident program specified as the value of action attribute of a form. Second thing is it sends a request to the server for the execution of a program which takes this data and processes it by using the action attribute of a form tag. As we have seen, action attribute of a form tag, action is equals to the URL of the program which we want to execute or which will be executed when the form data is sent to the server. Okay. So, this is the action of the submit button. A submit button is required in every form. You create an online form and in every form you need a submit button to submit the data to the server. Otherwise, you cannot send a data or cannot submit data to the server. Okay, that's it about the different widgets of in the HTML, XHTML. There are so many other widgets as well, but basic widgets we have covered here. So, let us go through a complete example which contains some widgets along with a form. Okay. I will just switch to Notepad++. I already have an example here. I will just show you this example. I have written this example in HTML. You can convert the same example into XHTML by adding few lines at the beginning like XML declaration, doc type, that is DTD, and you can add XML attribute to HTML. Okay. As we are learning HTML, we should write the program in XHTML. Okay. But for easy writing, I have right now I have used HTML here. Okay. So, inside HTML we have a head tag, we have specified a title as a complete form, and inside the body, first thing we have displayed registration form in H1 tag, that is heading tag, and then we have a form tag here. Form action, it is kept blank because this is a dummy program where we are not sending data to any server side programs. So, we have kept it blank. Now, inside the form tag we have all our widgets to get the information. The first widget you can see inside the paragraph tab, we have a label. Inside the label we have some text, enter your email ID, and we have an input tag here, input type text, name my name, size is 25, maximum length is 25, and the label is closed. So, we have created here a text box. You can see a text, input type text, and this text takes the email address. So, this is to enter email address, and all of those have been grouped inside a label. So, why label is used? Label is used to group the text and the widget together. So, you can see the text is enter your email and the widget is created by using an input tag, and both of those are grouped by using a label. So for every while creating every widget, the text and its widget can be grouped into a single entity by using a label, remember. And this is helpful because whenever you group into a label, even if you click on the text, the cursor automatically is placed inside the particular widget. So and that is the reason these labels are important. You already know about a paragraph tag. Paragraph tags can be used to create a paragraph which adds a new line, the beginning and at the end. So to display this complete thing on a new line every time, you can use a paragraph tag as well. Okay. So the first widget we have created, that is text area, you can text widget itself, and the label for it is enter your email. Okay. Then we have created again inside a label, enter the password. We have created one more type of widget here, input type password. Now what is the difference between a text and a password here? The difference is that whatever you enter in the text widget, that is visible, means if I enter a character A is visible there, but if you use a password widget, whatever you enter, it is not visible, means it will be shown in some symbols like some dots or stars. That is the use of password. Whenever you want to read a password from a user, instead of using a text widget, you always use a password widget, so that whatever user enters in that particular field, it is not visible to other. Okay. So that is input type password. Again it has the similar attributes, name, size, max length. Then we are reading the gender of a user, and this we are reading by using radio buttons. You can see we have created a radio button, label, input type radio, name is act, value is 1. So radio button needs a value. So here we have a value 1 for male. The text here it is male, which is displayed along with the radio button. Okay. So whenever this radio button is selected, the value which is sent to the server, it is 1. Then we have one more radio button which has the same name. You can see it is in the same group, that means the value is 2. If you select the second radio button, that is female, the value which is sent to the server, it is 2. So 2 radio buttons are created, and then we have created here, you can see check boxes. We have some text again which is displayed at the beginning. Then we are creating check boxes. How created? By using a type as checkbox. Again names are same because all the check boxes are in the same group, and the value of this first text box, it is 1, second is 2, third is 3, fourth it is 4, and the label which is associated or the content here, it is Gmail, Facebook, Twitter and Google Plus. We are asking user to select their account, and it is displayed with the multiple check boxes. Then lastly, we have a text area. Text area is created. The name of the text area is feedback, and number of rows are 5, number of columns are 100. So row specifies the height, column specifies the width, and there is no default content in the text area, so it is kept blank. And then we have created the buttons. How the buttons are created? Input type submit, input type reset, the value is submit and value is reset, and lastly everything has been closed. The form is closed, body is closed, HTML is closed. So this is how we have created a complete form here. Let me execute and show you the output of this form. So this is my file. I'll just double click on it. Okay, now you can see a complete form here, registration form. This is displayed in H1 tag. Inside the first label we have displayed enter your email ID and the text we have created. Now if I click on enter your email ID, you can see still the cursor is displayed in the text area, because this whole thing it is inside a single label. If I do not include it inside the label, and if I click on the enter your email ID, the cursor will not be displayed in text area, text widget. So label makes it a complete set, okay, or label groups it together. So I can keep my cursor directly here in the text area, or even when I click on the label, the cursor is automatically moved. You can see even when I click on here, the cursor is moved. And this is to enter password. You can see if I enter password, this is a password box, the characters are not visible, and this is text, the characters are visible, okay. Then we have created radio buttons. You can see if I click on male, it is selected, female, that is selected. Directly I can click on radio buttons as well, okay. Then also we have created check boxes where I can select multiple check boxes at a time. Case of suggestions, I can add the suggestions. You can say if it exceeds the boundary, now vertically it is exceeding the boundary, we have scroll bar which automatically appears. Same way, if it exceeds the boundary horizontally, the cursor is automatically moved down when it reaches the horizontal boundary, okay, and it goes down and down and down. And we have a reset button. Upon clicking on a reset button, all the fields are automatically reset. You can see here I have clicked on reset button, all the fields are cleared by using a reset button. In case of submit button, the data is sent to the server which is specified inside the form. The address is specified inside the form using an attribute, that is action. But right now we haven't included anything for action, so the data is not submitted to any application on the server. Okay, this is about the form and different widgets which we include inside the form. Okay, now we will continue our discussion with the next topic, that is frames. There is a lab program based on frames as well, so this is important. So frames, usually it is used to create rectangular areas in your document. So whenever you want to display multiple documents on a single window, you can see a window on the web browser, and generally we display a single document, single HTML file is displayed in a single window. But it is possible to display multiple HTML files or documents in a single window by creating separate sections in that window, and these sections can be created by using what is called as frames. So frames are rectangular sections of the display window, each of which can display a different document. Now for example, if I have a display window or a browser window like this, and generally in this window we display a single HTML page, but what you can do is you can create sections into it like this. Now I have created 3 sections. This is first one, second one, third one. Each of this may have a different HTML document. Here the first HTML, there the second, and here the third HTML, and this can be created by using frames. Frames are no longer part of XHTML. You cannot validate a document that includes frames. So frames have been deprecated from XHTML, and that is the reason you cannot validate a document which includes frames. So validation will always fail because frames have been deprecated. The tag which is used to create frames, it is the tag called as frame set. the frame set tag specifies the number of frames and their layout in the window. So, frame set tag specifies the number of frames and its layout in the window. The frame set takes the place of body tag in the document. If you are creating a frames, then we cannot have a body element in the document. So, body element, it is usually used when you are creating a web page. Frames are simply some rectangular areas which we are creating in the document, remember. So, we do not use a body tag if we are creating a frame set. So, either we can have a frame set or a body tag in a HTML document. So, if you are creating a frame set, do not include a body tag. You cannot have both into a file. Frame set must have either rows attribute or a columns attribute, or we can include both rows and columns. Now, frame set tag has two important attributes. Rows attribute simply specifies the rows in the window. So, as I have said, this is a complete window. Then looking at this window, you will get to know how many rows are present. The number of rows are 2. This is first one, this is second one, right? And this can be specified by using rows attribute, or even columns. If you look at the columns, in the first row we have a single column, whereas in the second row we have two columns, which can be specified by using cols attribute. By default it is one row and one column when we have a single window. Okay. The possible values of rows and columns are numbers. We can use numbers as the values, or value can be specified in percentages like 10%, 20%, 30%, or even a value can be a asterisk, that is a star symbol, which means everything which is available. Okay. Then value specifies the row height in pixels. So, if I am specifying rows is equals to 10%, that is the height of the row. Okay. If a value for a column is used, that is cols is equals to 50, the value is in pixels, 50 pixels width of a column. A percentage specifies the percentage of total window height for a row, which is very useful. It is useful to use the values in percentage instead of value in pixels. Let us look at an example here to understand it in a better way. An asterisk after some other specification gives the reminder of the height of the window. Now, for example, if I use a frame set like this, what this will do is, this will create, if this is my window, this window is divided into 3 rows. You can see frame set rows is equals to 150, 200, 300. Means we are dividing this complete window into 3 sections. The first row will have a height of 150 pixels, a height of 150 pixels. The second will have a height of 200 pixels, whereas third will have a height of 300 pixels. So, totally 1, 2 and 3 rows. How these rows are specified? These rows are specified by using an attribute rows, and the value or the height of every row, it is specified by separating it by a comma in between. And the values which are specified, it can be directly the numbers, or it can be even the percentage or an asterisk symbol. Okay. So, in the second example we have used percentages. You can see again 3 rows are created here, but we have used values in percentage, that is 25% of the total window size. Total window size, if it is considered as 100, then the value of first row is 25. Then value of second row is 50% and the value of third is 25. So, altogether it is again 100 if you look at, okay, 100%. even a value can be specified like this: 50%, 20% and star. Star means whatever remaining value. 50 and 20 if you add, it will become 70, and remaining is 30, as you know. So directly it can be specified by using a star, that is remaining, whatever remaining that is assigned to the third row. Even we can use rows with columns as well. So you can see 50%, 25%, 25% and calls, that is 40% and star. So even columns can be specified along with rows. So we have two columns in this. First column will take 40%, whereas second column will be of the remaining whatever remaining size is present, that will be assigned to the second column. In this case it would be 60%, because 40 is already used for the first column. Now this is how you can divide your window into rows and columns. You are dividing the windows, you can see the window is divided. Now how to display a document in every section? Now we have created sections, but how a document is displayed in this? To display a document in every section, we use a one more tag called as frame tag. Remember, these documents should be available. You have to create the documents first, then you can create a frame. Document and frame cannot be included in the same thing. Frame simply creates sections where you can display a document, so document has to be available first. So that available document can be displayed in these sections by using a frame tag. It is like this: the frame tag specifies the content of a frame. So these sections are called as frames. This is one frame, second frame and third frame. So the first frame tag in the frame set specifies the content of the first frame. If you include the first frame tag inside the frame set, that would specify the content of first frame, and so on. Now here the row measure order is considered, that means the row first is considered. Frame content is specified with SRC attribute. Now this is an important attribute of a frame tag. SRC stands for source, and the source specifies the location of the document which you want to display inside the frame or inside the section. Okay. Without SRC attribute, the frame will be empty. If you do not include a SRC attribute, that particular frame is empty, which cannot be filled later. You cannot add a document later on into that. If the frame set has fewer frames, if you create a frame set of 3 rows, consider in the first example also we have created 3 rows, but if you only specify 2 frames, one frame is kept empty, because 2 frames means 2 documents we are adding, but we have 3 different sections. So the last section will be remained empty. Scroll bars are implicitly included. In case of the frames, every section which we create, that includes a document. If that document is too large for that particular section, then a scroll bar is automatically added. If a name attribute is included, the content of the frame can be changed later. For every frame you can include a name attribute as well. We have seen SRC attribute which is required for a frame, but apart from SRC you can include a name attribute as well. If you are including a name attribute, then it is very useful, because you can change the frame or the document later on by using a name attribute. Now let us go through an example to understand how frames can be created. Okay, so what exactly we want to we are going to create, I'll just show you here. What we want to is, we will be creating a frame like this. And this frame will have 2 rows, or this window will have 2 rows, the top row and the second row. And inside the second row we will create 2 sections, again 2 columns. first column and the second column. So here we will display a title, say DMS college. Okay, so we will create an HTML file which displays DMS Mandals College of Computer Application, and we will have one more HTML file in this particular section which simply displays a link to registration. It will have a link for a registration form, registration hyperlink, and we will have one more HTML page which has a registration form. Just now we have created a registration form, the same form we will use. Now to create this, what we want is, first we have to create 3 HTML pages separately. One page is to display the title, that is DMS. Okay. Second HTML page we have to create for the link of that registration, that will have a registration link, and the third one will be for the registration form. Okay, these 3 documents, and then we have to create a frame set or frames where the first document is displayed in the top section, the second is displayed in the left section, and the third is displayed in the middle section. The third is displayed when you click on registration link. Okay, so this we are going to create. So let us start. I'll open Notepad++, and first what we will do is, first we will create these 3 things. Okay, so I'll create the first document. So I'll open Notepad++. Okay, I'll create a new document here, and I'll say HTML. I'll not declare title and all for now. I'll just take a body. Inside the body tag, I'll just close the body and HTML, and as we know we need a title. Inside the body I'll just include an h1 tag, and I'll say the text DMS Mandals College of Computer Applications. Okay, so Belgaum. Then I'll close this h1 tag. So this will be our first document. It includes only a title. Okay, so I'll save this. In the F drive. I have created a folder with the name frames. Inside this folder we will save it, and while saving I'll use a name for this, that is top.html. I'll be displaying it in the top frame, so I'll name it as top.html. Okay, we have saved it. I'll just execute and show you the output of this top.html. You can see here we have a top.html. I'll just double click. Okay, now you can see DMS Mandals College of Computer Applications, Belgaum. So this is our first HTML file that will be displayed at the top area. So first we have created, then we will create one more HTML file. I'll just close the other files. Okay, I'll create one more file now, and this is to link the registration form, to create a hyperlink. Again I'll use HTML. See, while creating, you have to create an XHTML document. For now I am creating an HTML, but whenever you execute a program in the lab, you have to always create an XHTML document. Body close, HTML is closed. Then, as you know, we need a link in the left section, I said. So link can be created by using a tag called as anchor tag. We have studied hyperlink can be created by using an anchor, and there is an attribute a href, hyperlink reference, which is equals to the URL of a document which you want to open. So for now I will keep it blank, and then we have to close the anchor. Before closing the anchor, you can include some text. Registration. Okay, then the anchor is closed. Okay, I'll show you. I'll just save it as, I'll say left dot html. Saved. I'll just execute this left.html and show you. Okay. Now you can see we have created a link here. Upon clicking of registration, it should open that registration form, but right now href attribute is blank, so nothing is happening. So what we will do is, we will create one more document now, HTML document, that is form. We already have it, so what I'll do is, I'll use the same one. Already we have created the frames, right? Okay, where it is? Okay, we have registration form. Okay, so this is our registration form file, so I'll just cut it from here. I'll even put it in the frames folder. So we have three files here, left, top and registration. So I'll even execute registration form. So this is a registration form. Okay, left, I'll just open the coding of left again, and as I've said, whenever I click on registration, it should open that registration form. So what I'll do is, here in the href section, I'll add the name of registration file. So name here it is registration form.html. So I'll add here registration form.html, so that we want to open. Okay, so I'll again open it. So you can see this is our left.html. When I click on this, it should open registration form automatically. You can see it is opening registration form. So this is fine. Now we have three files, left, top and registration, and as I've said, we will be creating a frame now, and that frame will have these three documents. Now the frame will have 2 rows, and the second row will have 2 columns. Now how to create that I'll show you. Okay, so let me open Notepad++ again. Now we will create a frame set. Now to create a frame set, as I've said, you have to start with a HTML document itself. So we will start with an HTML document. So I'll say HTML. Then we will include frame set now instead of body. We do not want body here. Okay, we are creating a frame set. So frame set, a document in HTML document may have either frame set or a body. So here we need a frame set. So we will create a frame set space. Now as I've said, we want to create 2 rows. I'll just show you what we are creating again. I'll open MS Paint. Okay, what exactly we are going to create is this. We will be creating a window, and first it will be divided into 2 parts. Okay, like this. and then in the second section we will again have in the second row also we have two parts, okay, like this. And here we will display our top document, here left, and here the registration form. So for that we are creating a frame set here. So frame set, we need two rows first, so I'll say rows is equals to, in double quotes I need to specify two rows. So size of the first row I need to specify, size of the first row in percentage I'll specify as 30%, okay, then comma the second row. I want the second row to take the remaining space whatever it is, so I'll use only star in that case. So frame set is created. Now this frame set is having two rows, 30% and star, that is remaining. Okay, now we have created two rows. In the first row I need to include the document, right, top.html. To include that document we need to use a frame tag. So frame includes one important attribute, that is src, and that should be the URL of the document which you want to include in the first row. So URL of the document is which document you want to include, top, I said top.html, which we have created. So top.html. A frame can even have a name, so I'll give a name is equals to, I'll say top, okay, so any name can be given. So this is it, we have created the frame. So that means we have created here two rows. In the first row we have displayed, top.html, okay, so this is done. Now the second task is, in the second row we need two columns. These two columns we have to create in the second row. So here what we have to do is, we have to again take one more frame set. Now instead of rows, calls, because we have two rows now. In the second row we need two columns. So calls is equals to, again in double quotes I'll say the first column will be of 30% and comma the second column, again I'll just say star, remaining space it will consider for the second column. Now press enter. Here what I'll do is, now we have created two columns. In the first column what I want to display, in the first column here I want to display the file, that is left.html, right, left.html we want to display in the first column. So that you can display again by using frame tag. So I'll say frame src is equals to left.html. The attribute name also we will use, name is equals to, I'll say left. Okay, so this is done. Now we need one more frame in the second column. So this column, one more frame is required. Okay, initially this frame we will keep it blank. Only when I click on the link which is there on the in the left.html, then only this document has to be displayed. So I'll just create a frame, but empty frame, frame src, I'll keep it blank. The name is equals to, I'll say center. Okay, that's it. I'll close the frame set, the inner frame set. This is closed, and then we will close the outer frame set. That is also closed, and lastly we will close HTML. Okay, we have created our frame set now. I'll just save it. Frame set dot or frame set demo dot html. So I'll save it again in the same directory, that is f frames. Okay, now we have created our frame set. Now it is time to execute. I'll open the folder and this is our document. I'll just double click. Now you can create, you can see here we have three sections now here, the first row, second row and the third row. The first row, yes, it has the title file, okay, but in the left section we cannot see a file here, so there is some problem with it. We will just verify it. Okay, so again go back to the file. So this is a folder. We have left.html available in the folder though. We will check the coding. Okay, so this is okay. There is a spelling mistake you can see in the frame tag. A is missing. Now we will verify it. I'll again refresh the file. Still okay, still it is not visible. We will again verify it. Okay, there is everything is right here. I'll just reload the file. Instead of clicking here, you just click here and press an enter key so that the link is available, link is displayed. Okay, now we have here, this is our top section, the file top.html. In the left section we have registration, the file left.html, which includes a link. When I click on this registration, the registration form has to be displayed in the center area of my frame set. When I click here, you can see a registration form is displayed, but it is displayed in the same frame. It is displayed. Now we want it to display in the center frame. For that, what we can do? Okay, for that we have to add one more thing in this file, that is left.html. Okay. Okay, in the left.html file, I'll just open the left.html. This is our left.html, which displays this registration link, and whenever we click on the registration link, this text, the form registration form.html will be opened. By default, the form is always opened in the same window. If you want the form to be opened in a different window, the name of the window has to be specified here. Now if you look at the frame set, this is a frames file. We want that registration to be opened in this last frame, okay, which specifies the center frame. Okay, by default it is blank, but the name of that it is center. So this name we have to specify here in the left.html. So after href, we need to include one more attribute called as the target attribute, which is equals to the frame in which you want to display it. So we want to display it in the frame with the name center. So put there it as center. Save this again and we will go back. I'll just refresh it again, and when I click on it, now you can see the registration page is displayed in the center frame, not in the left frame. So this is how we can create frames or frame sets in HTML, XHTML. Okay. Okay, now we will go through the last part of this HTML, XHTML, and we will stop. The last part is syntactic differences between HTML and XHTML. Okay, so what are the differences between HTML and XHTML? The first difference is case sensitivity. HTML case insensitive, whereas XHTML is sensitive. In HTML, the tag names can be written in capitals or smalls, or it can include capital and small both together. So it is case insensitive, whereas XHTML tag should appear always in small case. So that is XHTML, it is case sensitive. Closing tags may be omitted in HTML. For some tags you can even miss the closing tags, or you can omit some closing tags for tags in the HTML, but every opening tag should have a proper closing tag in XHTML. So that is required. Third is quoted attribute values. Quoted only if there are embedded special characters or white space characters. Numbers are rarely quoted in HTML. In case of HTML, your values, attribute values, need not be quoted every time in HTML, but when you use XHTML, attribute values needs to be quoted every time. Quoted in the sense you need to include it in double quotes. For example, we have used just now we have used anchor tag, right? Anchor tag, and anchor tag has an attribute href, and which is equals to the hyperlink reference or the URL, and the value, that value is always quoted. You can see it is written in double quotes. So like this, in XHTML, every value, every attribute value needs to be quoted, it has to be included in double quotes. But in HTML, not always the values are included in double quotes. For example, a value like size, suppose we have a text field and the size is specified as 15. This is valid in HTML, but in XHTML even this value 15 has to be quoted, it has to be written in double quotes. Then explicit attribute values. In HTML, some attribute values are implicitly considered. For example, table border. Even when you specify table border, this is valid in HTML, but this is invalid in XHTML because there is no value for the attribute border, no value is specified. But in HTML, the value is automatically considered, the border is equals to border. But in XHTML, you have to specifically write the value. You have to write border is equals to the size of a border, maybe 5 pixel, 10 pixel, or you can even specify in double quotes, you can specify border is equals to border. Okay, when you want to have a border for a table. Then ID and name attributes. In XHTML, use of ID is encouraged and use of name is discouraged. In HTML, we use name attribute many a times instead of ID attribute, but in XHTML, use of ID is encouraged and use of name is discouraged. The next, nesting of elements. Nesting rules. Anchor elements cannot contain another anchor, and a form element cannot contain another form element. So as per the rule, you cannot include anchor inside anchor or form inside form. If an element appears inside another element, the closing tag of the inner element must appear before the closing tag of the outer element. Like the inner loops, inner loop and outer loop, we close inner loops first, then the outer loops are closed. Same way in case of tags. If you have nested tags, the inner tags must be closed first, then the outer tags. The text cannot be directly nested inside body or form element. It is suggested that we should not include text directly inside the body or the form tag. Text needs to be generally included in either inside a paragraph tag or any other tags which are available. Okay. So these are some nesting rules. We have gone through some syntactic differences between HTML, XHTML, and also through some nesting rules. With this, we have finished with HTML part here, and here from the next session we will start with CSS, that is cascading style sheet. We will stop here. Thank you.